Another Halloween 4 poster. Great. What am I going to do with you?
Exactly.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Somewhere between science and superstition.
We have such sights to show you.
Strange Eons. Welcome to Strange Eons Radio. That is Eric over there.
Hello.
That is Vanessa over there.
Hello.
Oh, nice to see you wake up a little bit for us, Vanessa.
Energy
Hey,
drinks
man,
kicking
I'm
in.
doing my best over here, okay?
I am Kelly. Happy December, guys, and happy December to all of you out there. 2024 has come and gone.
Gosh, what a year.
Still some time to go yet. Who knows what joys it may encapsulate in its final 30 days.
That's true. We got some real. Every day is just a joy to discover what is happening on the world. So
Indeed. I thought that I would, real quick, remind everybody that I have got a very cool little chapbook out here. It is called Anacarcosa, and it is difficult to describe what this thing is. It is a small book. It is fully illustrated, full color, one illustration per month, and then a text on each month. This tells the story of the end of the world over the course of 1 year. And if you are a Lovecraft nut, or a, more specifically, Chambers nut,
yeah.
King in Yellow, this is a King in Yellow story. If you're not familiar with the King in Yellow is a fictional play that, if the second act is actually performed, it drives everybody who's ever seen it insane.
oh,
Very
And
good.
in my story, this is not a spoiler because it starts out this way. It is read live on television during an award ceremony and drives the entire world insane. So it is fully illustrated by a guy named Rob Corliss, who is just one of my favorite artists in the world. Everything he does looks like an animation cell, and that is because he is a award-winning animator. His films show up at Cannes Film Festival, and he's done some stuff over in Australia on something called Bluey. Does your kid watch
really?
Bluey? There you go.
everyone who's ever had a child knows of Bluey.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I would say, too, if you're long time familiar with this guy and read Strange Eons or even Planet Lovecraft, you've seen Rob's work. at
Rob
some
had
point.
something in just about every single issue. So, and some of the stuff I wrote that he did. One of the other things we collaborated on was many years ago. The first thing that I did with him is called The Ballad of Eric Zahn. It's set up in the same way. This is available on Amazon as well. It is full color and illustrated throughout. It's a rock and roll Armageddon apocalypse story, and it's also very Lovecraftian. So I just thought I would pimp myself a little bit here at the beginning
Good.
of this episode because nobody else will.
Well,
Pimp.
yeah, exactly. Let's try. I just don't have a lot of bandwidth.
None of us have a lot of bandwidth
I do love
for this
this-
kind of shit.
I feel like, I don't know if it's unconscious or conscious, but I can tell how very much you hate award shows just based off of that pitch. You know?
Pimping ain't easy.
Well, listen, also, the one that I really liked was when Will Smith got up and slapped
fucking-
Chris Rock, and I was just like, the next year, I was like, nothing?
Not a
Nobody's
single-
even going to make a joke about this?
Not a thing. I mean, he did a wind up too. Like, he went a full slap.
Whack.
Yeah.
Very, very gifable.
And like the hardest hit Tyson did on Paul was when
boy.
he smacked him in the weigh-in.
Yeah.
That was so dumb. Like, anybody who thought that was real, I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like,
The fight
he
before.
didn't even try. He didn't even like try to punch him.
I saw a video recreation of there's like one time he hit him, and the caption underneath was something like, and this is where Tyson realized his contract will not let him do what he could really do to this guy.
Yeah.
Because he had one hit that isolated. Is like, damn it, Tyson, come on. You
Why
could have
would you
made it up
sign
to,
up for that bullshit, man?
well, a lot of money.
$30 million to do
okay,
that
all
to you.
right, that's fine.
I would say that there was probably a gentleman's agreement between the two of them, which is nobody wants to see a 27-year-old beat up a 58-year-old man, even if
Right.
that 58-year-old man is Mike Tyson. So there was an agreement that said, listen, you don't hurt me and I won't hurt you. Because I think Tyson could have really hurt him. And I
Yeah.
think Paul could have really hurt Tyson
Yeah,
too. So they were just like, this is an exposition match.
That's right.
We don't have to go Rocky IV on this.
We don't have to be like the match just before us where they clean the crap out of, knock the crap out of each other.
Holy shit! And that decision was when we were watching that together. That we were like, I do not agree with this.
Yeah, no, that's
So-
wrong pick.
Anyway, how do we turn into a boxing podcast?
Real
I
fast.
have nothing to contribute very quickly.
Oh, you didn't watch the.
Shockingly, I watched a very tiny amount and was like, fuck, this is not for me. Thank you. I mean, like, that guy is so toxic anyway.
Oh,
Fucking
he's such
Paul.
an asshole.
Yeah, I don't want to give him a cent of my time or money or viewing numbers.
Well said. So back in line with what we normally talk about, I watched some movies.
Oh.
Okay, cool.
I don't know how to talk about this one. We're in the holiday season.
Sure.
This is a
Okay.
holiday movie.
Okay.
It is called Silent Bite.
Okay.
And this falls into the category of we came up with a title before the movie.
Oh, no.
This is a crime caper gone wrong. This guy, first of all, this is a very low budget movie, and it looks very low budget, but still looks pretty good. There's some really neat parts in it, and it is about a group of criminals who have robbed a bank dressed as Santa Clauses. So we've got that in here. And then they escape to a hotel that I guess the manager is in on. There's like hardly anybody there at the hotel. And they are hiding out there while a different Santa Claus is driving in the opposite direction and making sure he's seen at various places so that the cops are following him instead. And the idea is that he will double back. All of the Santas will then go the opposite way the next day, right? So this is it's a complicated story already.
I'm lost.
Now let's introduce vampires into it who have captured a woman at the hotel and are torturing her. And then they find out that here's this group of Santa criminals also hanging out here. So now it is Santa criminals versus vampires. They're all hot chicks, by the way. And that's this movie. It's called Silent Bite. It is available, I think, on Prime.
Does this mean you just
Okay,
spend an
then.
entire film watching a bunch of like oversized white dudes beating up beautiful women?
No, because the beautiful women are beating up the white dudes, and they're not all
Okay.
oversized. They are, however, strangely British.
Oh, no.
It's almost like somebody was like, you know what I want to do is what's the British guy who does all the Guy? I want to do a Guy Ritchie horror
Oh,
film,
God.
but I'm setting it in Montana.
This has to be done by somebody I went to film school with, I'm sure.
I'll just put this out there. It's not bad. And I did not look into who the filmmakers are. If this is like a first film or something, this is fun. Even if it's, they make these kind of films for a living, just bargain bin films that show up on Shudder or whatever. It's fine. So
Roaring endorsement. It's fine.
put that on your VHS tape.
Put that on your maybe I'll watch it someday list.
Excellent. Well, to continue the holiday spirit, I watched a movie on Netflix called Merry Gentlemen. Did anybody see this in the carousel?
As in the name or the cheer?
Merry.
Merry, as in Merry Christmas, but Merry Gentlemen.
Now, this could also be a Guy Ritchie Christmas
Yeah.
movie, right?
Oh God, that would have been so much better. This unfortunately is I think it's starring Chad Michael Murray, possibly. It's whoever was in One Tree Hill.
No help here.
It's one of those Netflix, we're gonna make a Hallmarky style Christmas romance movie picks. And I know, sorry, Eric.
I think I read
just really
about this one.
broke your world because
Merry
Christmas is now sexy.
Gentlemen.
So
Is this a gay Christmas movie?
and unfortunately, no.
No.
This is like a woman who is a very popular dancer with basically a version of the Rockettes, gets fired from her troupe, goes back to her small town, and ends up falling for a handyman. And at the meantime, her parents' establishment, which was a rock club, is going to be out of business because no one's going. So she starts a Santa Claus stripping style event that is every day up until Christmas. So it's supposed to be edgy and crazy. And Netflix has in the past put out some very interesting like holiday films because they're using that Hallmark model, but not like exactly. Like they're doing cool stuff with it. Fuck you guys. Fuck you guys this year. You sold out. You gave up. You decided you're just going to go 100% Hallmark. It sucked. It sucked ass. There is no interesting emotional beat in this entire thing. It was just a bloodless corpse of a romance holiday film edging its way through the top 10. I just fucking hated it. Anyway, that's The Merry Gentleman.
That was not the movie I thought you were talking about it, but it took me to the point where you said they formed a strip to tell if it wasn't. Because the other one's all the same. It's like some lady does something that turns her cat or something into a guy. It's the guy from Schitt's
Hot
Creek.
Frosty.
The guy from Schitt's Creek who's the veterinarian. But since he feels no cold, he like does house repairs with his shirt off and all this stuff. So he's all muscly and looking, but he's completely devoted to her.
Yeah.
The storyline, the headline was, I think it was U.S. News or something like that. Are women okay?
No, the answer is no.
Not really.
No,
Definitely
this
not.
is part of Netflix's new genre of sexy Hallmark, and that was the first one, Hot Frosty, followed by Merry Gentleman. I have not yet seen Hot Frosty.
I like that name though. That's an awesome.
I may or may not
That's
see
right.
it.
He's a snowman.
He's a snowman.
Yeah, it turns
he's a
into a
snowman
real
who
boy.
turns into a man. And then they have a romance. I don't know, man. I have no faith anymore. I've lost all. Like, you can't have a plot like that with the actor that you have in there and like make it so fucking below B movie grade.
Yeah, he's great in Schitt's Creek. He's such a fun character.
Yeah.
All right. So I did watch something that had absolutely nothing to do with Christmas. It's a new Amazon series, James Patterson's Alex Cross character.
Oh, I was wondering
It's just
about
called
that.
Cross.
Yeah.
Stars Aldous Hodge, I think is how you say his name, who was in a phenomenal series a few years back called Leverage that was shot in Portland. Which I really like that show. And I've only watched one episode, but I can tell you, this is going to be a fun series. It's got the whole guy who's smarter than everybody in the room and underestimating him, which is the Alex Cross character. And I like him a lot, so that helps. I think he's great on screen. But yeah, this one I would definitely recommend. If you got Amazon Prime, I would and you liked what's the one the guy from The Office redid?
Yeah, Harrison Ford. And
Yeah, but if you liked that kind of stuff, it's pretty good.
So it's not like a Reacher type series, though.
Not quite.
Okay.
It's got that kind of energy, though, but the story is very different.
Okay. Called Cross.
Yeah, very fun.
Well, Eric, I finally sat down and I watched Maxine.
Okay.
The
Third in the series.
third in the X series.
Sure.
And I didn't like it. I think I still like X best out of all of them. And
First one?
Yeah, and I didn't like that one very much. So I don't know what it is about these movies and this filmmaker that I just don't care for. Although I liked
I get that.
The Innkeepers. I thought that was a good one.
That's a fun one.
This one, of course, she goes to Hollywood to become a porn star and then gets caught up in the Night Stalker killings, which I guess I hoped was going to be a bigger part of it. And so that that's kind of on me for wanting it to be something that it was not. What I thought was really interesting then, and I love that this is happening, A24 are releasing novelizations of some of their films. And so Tim Wagoner has done the 3 novelizations for this series. This is not books I would pick up, But I love that this is happening again because, as you know, I pick up horror novelizations. And I'm starting to see this happen with a couple of other things too. And I'm trying to figure out, like, somebody, who do I talk to novelize Trick or Treat or The Wraith?
Oh, yeah.
I want to do some old movies that never got that.
Terrifier is another one that has been done.
Yeah, Terrifier 3 I see is coming out as a novel. And they're getting these authors who are not huge names, but big enough names that you would recognize them. So I thought that was just a really neat thing. I don't know. It's neat to see people reading again.
Yeah.
I mean, whether you're a fan of A24's movies or not, if you go to their site, their merchandising is incredibly cool and ridiculously unique. They do some really, really neat stuff.
I love that they take risks in every aspect. Like they take risks with their movies, with their merch. It's great.
Yeah, and I would not be opposed to picking up a Everything Everywhere All at Once novelization, or even
I think they have like a tax book they put out.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Or even Hereditary, which would written by maybe written by Ari Aster. I don't know how he writes, but that could have a nice Exorcist feel to the book. That'd be a nice thick book. So I just love that is happening. And if that is something you're interested in, be aware that it is happening out there right now.
Very cool.
Very, very cool. Well, I watched the second episode of Silo. Eric, did you check that out
I haven't seen
yet?
the second one yet. This was post-Power, I believe.
Oh, sure. Yes, that does track. Continues to be very good. I'm very excited. Right. So the first episode we're following, I've forgotten her name already, our main character who has left the silo and finds that second silo. Second episode.
Big spoiler if you haven't seen the first series.
Sorry. Why haven't you? It's super good. Fucking get your ass together. Anyway, and the second episode goes back to that first silo, and it's the people who've remained and kind of the concerns and things that are happening there. So it really just such a solid series. I love it.
I love that it came back at all. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen because it seems like the first season was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, and I think
it's always hard to know what's going to happen. The way, growing up, it was September to sometime in the spring. Take summer off. It comes back again in September.
Definitely comes back at a certain date and 22 episodes too. None of this 12 episode bullshit.
Man. Yeah, it's a weird world in the streaming universe because depending on how well the companies do equals what kind of content is coming out and how many risks they're going to take. And Apple is like, they don't care if they make money because they're one of the most profitable corporations on the planet. Yeah. So they're like, sure, we'll make this Leonardo DiCaprio movie. Why not? Hey, sounds fun.
Speaking of Apple, I think that Severance season 2 is still on track.
It's in the works.
It is. It's coming. It's coming soon.
Something about it being shot where the guy was talking about, and here he is doing his best running like Tom Cruise imitation, but nobody runs as well as Tom Cruise does.
I believe it's actually got a date or a time that is coming out. Shoot.
Fascinating.
I know. Sorry. I will try to find out. January 17th.
Oh,
okay.
It's coming.
All right. Month away.
Okay. So I watched one that's way off the beaten path in my 100 movies still some to pull from. A movie called Don't Hang Up, which is not. It could have been good, but they made one huge mistake. It starts off and it's a bunch of YouTube type prankster assholes who do something that gets a woman killed. And so you right off the bat, you're like, hey, these guys are assholes. Because the way they're doing it, they're being dicks and they're all laughing in the background, having fun. And cut to sometime later and two of them are in a house and they get a call from someone. So they switch and become kind of the victims. The problem is between point A and B, there's no redemption for these guys.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, oh my God, look what a horrible stuff these two guys are going through. It's like, okay.
Sure.
It's like they did something pretty goddamn horrible at the beginning.
Oh.
And you gave me no reason to not cheer for them getting taken out as the show proceeded.
Oh, God.
And that's what you could tell they were going for.
Okay.
That you want to, because the actors are likable enough, and I think they could have pulled that off, but the writer didn't give them it. So I can't say it's recommended, but it's a fun, silly watch if you're in the mood for something that's not challenging.
Is this a pretty recent movie then?
Pretty sure it's 2024.
Don't hang up. I will bet that's on Shudder.
Could be.
Yeah.
Or no, actually I think it's on the other one. The one that doesn't do nearly as well as Shudder.
Oh.
Screenbox.
Yeah, I think it might be on Screenbox.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like my kind of movie.
No, not really.
But what does sound like my kind of movie is Canucksploitation.
Oh,
We're going to
yes.
take a little
Ooh.
break, and when we come back, that's what we're going to be talking about.
Zamboni toys are back! You can find yours in a McDonald's Happy Meal.
And we are back. Eric, what an amazing commercial you found for us
Thank you.
for
You're welcome, man.
Canucksploitation.
So great. So good. Canada.
Those Canada crazy folks.
Go Canada.
Eric, this
Poutine.
was your topic choice. What were you thinking with this?
Ginger Snaps is good. You know, you've got Cronenberg, who's contributed a small amount to the genre
Oh,
world.
just a tiny bit.
and
Never heard
his
of him.
siblings as well.
Children.
Ah,
So it's like, let's see what might be up there that we haven't heard about or something that's worth celebrating along those lines.
fantastic. I'm going to put 5 minutes on the buzzer if you want to start us off.
Alrighty. Well, I think I found a good one.
Ooh.
Deeply underrated and far too little known. A movie called The Dark Hours.
You got a Ruckman tumor here. That one's unstoppable.
This kind of growth rate, what prognosis do you see?
Less than a year.
Why don't you take the weekend? You need your family right now.
I had a CAT scan today. The tumor's growing. David, I want to get away. I'm gonna take the weekend off.
Hello, Dr. Goodman.
Where did you come from?
From where you left me, room 263.
He was transferred to my ward 2 years ago. He's one of them?
You know all the time we spend together? I miss it. How does this make you feel?
You are making a mistake here.
I'm here because of you.
What happened in there today, Sam?
Get him in isolation.
Now it's my turn. She's been a bad girl. I have to chop something off. You tell me what I'm going to take.
I'm not playing.
It's time to play God now. It's time to decide.
Jimmy, tell him something.
Say something!
Ooh.
From 2005. It sits in the middle for Rotten Tomatoes, so you know. This is kind of unfortunately hard to find.
Yeah, I've not
because
heard of it.
It is a little obscure. I found it, I did like a Google search or a Bing, actually it was a Bing search, and it showed up and in some random site that it still was the Microsoft Bing, but the video played inside it and it was the whole movie. So I'm like, okay, I'll watch it this way.
Huh.
It's not on YouTube. It's not on any video release that I'm able to get. It's directed by Paul Fox, who is best known for 18 episodes of Schitt's Creek and 6 episodes of Fraggle Rock, Back to the Rock.
Oh my God.
Written by Will Zemeck. Written some TV shows over there called Bitten and Carter. I'm not familiar with either one. Starring Kate Greenhouse, who's 18 episodes of Street Time, and another film I think is kind of underrated and very enjoyable. The Henry Rollins starring He Never Died. It's a fun, interesting film. Bruce McPhee, who was in Hairspray, Death of Smoochie, Death Race 2008, where Kelly and I went through a little Death Race
Absolutely.
thing there. Jeff Seymour from Hill Street Blues, and Jeff Limited, and lots of TV. So it starts with a doctor discovering she has a brain tumor that's growing. She's a psychiatrist, but works in a hospital or whatever, access to the stuff she needs to see this. And meets with a violent patient who she refuses to let get released. And at the time, he jumps over the table and tries to attack her. Her husband and sister have decided that she needs to get out of the city, so they go to a relaxing retreat in the cabin in the woods kind of thing. On the way, she drives up alone. They've driven up ahead of her. And she has these strange little encounters with a car that honks at her for no real reason, and being in a cafe and suddenly not able to hear anything other than whatever she's focusing on. It's very interesting, well shot stuff. And she gets up to the cabin and shit starts to get a little weird. At first, when she first shows up, it seems like maybe there's some flirting going on between her. I think it's her husband and her sister, which is, so, okay, what's going on here? And I start doing your usual cabin stuff. Let's have dinner, whatever. And somebody knocks at the door. And it's a random guy. Nobody really knows who he is. And he's like, I'm lost in the woods kind of thing. And said, can I stay here for a little while till I can get somebody to come get me? And they're like, I guess so. Well, he's not there for a fun reason, which leads to one of the most, I'm going to say this because I know it would bother a lot of people, one of the most shockingly violent shooting of a dog I have seen in a film that comes out of nowhere. But what it does, it instantly changes the mood of this film. It is incredibly effective, which it just knocks you completely off base because it's sort of like the scene in Pan's Labyrinth where the guy just knifes the guy all of a sudden, and it just whoa, where did that come? This is that kind of a scene where it goes from, oh, whatever's going on in the woods to, oh, fuck, what is going to happen next? And of course, shortly after that, the man she wouldn't let out of prison shows up. And it turns into kind of a version of a home invasion story where the two guys start playing games with the three of them. All incredible performances, all incredibly well shot, very, very intense. A couple moments, all home invasion movies have those moments where you're like, well, why aren't you doing whatever? It has a couple of them, but they're not annoying enough to where it takes you out of the film. It's just like, oh, you should have. Okay, I get why you didn't. Severely overlooked as far as this particular genre of film. It should be in there on those lists that people put out of the top 10, top 20 home invasion movies, because damn, it is really, really well done. Powerful, a little strange, and really hard to watch. But not in a way that sets you off, unless you don't want to watch it. Home invasion movie. Not a lot of trivia on this because, nobody knew about it. Nobody knows about it. But let me give you a quick rundown here of the awards it won on its festival circuit. Best Film, New York City Horror Film Festival. Best Film, Austin Fantastic Fest. Best Film, Pukan International Film Festival in Korea. Best Film, Dead by Dawn Film Festival in Scotland. Best Film, Erie Horror Film Festival. And Jury Award in Sitges for International Film Festival. Best Horror Feature and Best Director at the Phoenix International Horror and Sci-Fi Festivals. Most of those are huge festivals. And for some reason, it just never got picked up. It had a 2-week distribution in the U.S. or something like that.
What?
And it was just largely ignored.
And this was called The Dark Hour?
Hours.
Hours.
The Dark Hours.
And what year did it come out?
2005.
Wow, I've never heard of this.
Do you think the dog killing was a reason maybe nobody wanted to touch it?
Definitely will. I mean, in 2005 and 10, that was less of a deal breaker. It's a lot more of a deal breaker now.
Yeah.
So I'm not entirely certain, but the article that talked about how it was overlooked also mentioned that, this happens with a lot of Canadian films. They just kind of get ignored by the U.S. for whatever reason.
Wow.
But,
Interesting.
If the home invasion stuff you find interesting, seek it out. It's well worth the effort to find.
Wow. Can I pet that dog?
I don't know what to do with that.
Yeah, that image is going to live in my head for a long fucking time.
Vanessa, you want to go next?
Yeah, I would love to. I feel a little bit like a cheater on this because I'm going with one of the more well-known, unknown Canadian horror movies, which is Black Christmas from 1974.
Black Christmas. If this movie doesn't make your skin crawl, it's on too tight.
Rated R.
Probably every single one of our listeners has watched this movie, but if you haven't, let me tell you a little bit about it. Very low budget, $686,000. Box office was $1.3 million. Directed and produced by Bob Clark of A Christmas Story, Porky's, Dead of Night, and Baby Geniuses. Starring some very beautiful women. Olivia Hussey as Jess. She's been in 54 things, but we would know her from Franco Zeffirelli's Juliet, Romeo and Juliet as Juliet. She also was in Death on the Nile miniseries. Also Margot Kidder, who plays Barb, 137 credits. We talked about her for Sisters on this. Also was in Amityville Horror as Kathy Lutz and Lois Lane in Superman movies. We also have Keir Dulick, who is Dave in 2001, A Space Odyssey, and John Saxton, who we would know from 197 things, including Nightmare on Elm Street and Enter the Dragon. So the plot is a pretty standard slasher in a sorority house plot, which probably all stems from this film. And fairness, this was probably the first to do it. So a mysterious man climbs the lattice of a sorority house, making his way up to the top. And in the meantime, the sorority sisters are enjoying a Christmas party. They receive an obscene phone call from someone who's been calling before that they have nicknamed the Moaner. The call is fucking intense. It's super rapey and threatening. It's very messed up, and they handle it pretty well. So two of the girls get into a fight after the call, and Claire goes upstairs to pack for her winter break. She's going to go home. There she is attacked and strangled by the guy who broke in. The next day, Claire's father arrives saying that she failed to meet him at the train station. And then her father, along with two of the sisters, report Claire is missing to Sergeant Nash, who does not take them seriously. But then Chris, Claire's boyfriend, demands they do something about it. And of course, a search party is then held. Meanwhile, the house mother, Mrs. McHenry, discovers Claire's body in the attic and then is, of course, killed by the killer. We then proceed with, of course, a bunch of sorority sisters getting killed in various ways. We have a bit of a who's doing it. It could be Peter, it could be Chris, could be any of the boyfriends, or it could be somebody we've never seen before. So the police send in a telephone lineman to find out where the calls are coming from, the obscene phone calls, because they think it's connected. And of course, it is coming from inside the house. We end with a cool chase scene between Jess and the killer, and she... her boyfriend pulls her out of a bad situation, and she thinks that her boyfriend is the killer, so she kills him with a fire poker. They all think it's all done and good and everything, and of course we end on there's somebody still in the house and the telephone rings. So This is a great film. It is one of my favorite Christmas movies and also, of course, horror Christmas movies, but it is just awesome. I love the tongue-in-cheek moments. The house mother is so much fun with all her weird hidden liquor bottles throughout the house, constantly opening books in the back of the toilet to fish things out. And you're just like, man, this lady is on fire. She's great. All the art around the house feels so true to dorm life. It's just sexy, weird posters and, very edgy, very cool, very 70s. I think all the female characters feel pretty unique and interesting. One is British. I don't know why. Other than she's a hot, sexy actress. Great use of early handheld POV stuff. And I like the red herrings that are pretty good twists. Trivia. Tagline. Black Christmas will rock you too. Probably because there's a rocking chair on the poster. Reportedly, writer Roy Moore took inspiration for the story from an actual series of murders that took place in Montreal, Quebec around Christmas season, along with the urban legend, The Babysitter, and The Man Upstairs. It was originally titled Stop Me. Scenes from the film involving POV shots of Billy scaling the house was accomplished through the use of a rig designed by camera operator Bert Dunk, who was attached to Dunk's head as he climbed up the side of the house, which I was watching going, how the fuck did they do this early? It looks very good. NBC scheduled this film for its primetime network debut on January 28th, 1978 under... There's so much good trivia.
Yeah, there is.
Under the title Stranger in the House. And on January 15th, 1978, 2 female students at Florida State University were murdered by an assailant who broke into the sorority house where they lived. 3 other young women in the immediate vicinity were attacked and assaulted, and NBC received numerous pleas from locals to pull the movie from broadcast in light of crimes. And after first stating that they would offer the local affiliates an alternate movie to the broadcast, they decided to just pull the plug on the movie altogether. Instead, the film Doc Savage, Man of Bronze was shown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What the?
NBC instead ran Stranger in the House, which is how they titled it, as a late movie on May 14th the same year. The perpetrator of the crimes of the Florida State University was later identified as the serial killer Ted Bundy. This was regarded as one of the first slasher movies, with Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Bay of Blood and Psycho and Peeping Tom being kind of the ones that preceded. So John Carpenter's Halloween 1978 came after. Some people say it was very influenced by this. So there's so much trivia. It's so exciting, but that's okay. Anyway. And it had so many titles before it ended up with Black Christmas. Oh, there was one excellent additional piece of trivia that I want to bring up. Upon initial release in the U.S., it was changed to the title Silent Night, Evil Night because American distributors feared the title Black Christmas might cause the film to be mistaken as a blaxploitation flick. However, the film did not do well under the new title and was changed back to the original Black Christmas title, which it became a success with.
I didn't realize this had been remade 3 times.
3 times?
Yeah, there's 3 listed. One from 2006, one from like the teens, and one from 2021.
I knew about the 2021.
Yeah, and I've seen one of them where it's like I think they put a lady in a wood chipper.
I'm not sure. The 2019 one's the one I've seen. I haven't seen the one with Michelle Trachtenberg.
I think I've seen that. Maybe I don't know if I've seen that one or not. But yeah, all of them are truly god awful. You just watch this one. The others have nothing like this either. So
I do like their IMDb ratings. The first one is 7. The first remake 4.7. The next remake 3.5. The next one is 4.
That's how it goes.
Diminishing return.
Indeed.
You guys, I'm not sure if I cheated on this one. It came up in a list of Canucksploitation films, but on everything involved in it, I was like, this feels very much like a British film. Still, I wanted to see it, and I went with it.
Excellent.
It is called The Uncanny from 1977.
There is no shortage of monsters to haunt our dreams. Like the creature from the Black Lagoon, deadly aliens from outer space, giant ants, man-eating sharks, and bloodthirsty grizzly bears. But the most fiendish, the most fascinating, the most terrifying creature of all may be waiting for you round the next corner, or living right in your own home.
Years ago, people used to believe a cat was the devil in disguise. I'm beginning to think they were right.
No, cut! I said scream. Do you call that a scream? Those are spikes, real spikes, coming towards you.
I just don't feel scared.
Now, I will show you what terror means.
How are you going to convince the people what you're writing about is true?
I had access to the police statements and the doctor's report on the bodies. Believe me, I do know what happened.
There are millions of them, everywhere, spying on us, watching, waiting. When will they pounce?
Directed by Denis Hero, who has 16 credits, including Born for Hell, A Child Like Any Other, and L'Initiation. Written by Michael Perry, P-A-R-R-Y, 5 credits, including Extra, and an episode of Monsters.
Jesus.
Starring Peter Cushing. 131 credits, including Top Secret, numerous Hammer films, and was Grand Moff Tarkin in Star Wars. Question: I mean, we all thought Tarkin was a pretty good Moff, but would he have been a Grand Moff?
Good question.
Who else is in this movie?
Ray Milland. Ray Milland, 176 credits. Eric, he was Sire Yuri on Battlestar Galactica. He was in Escape to Witch Mountain.
Nice.
He was in The Thing with Two Heads and X, the Man with the X-Ray Eyes. Joan Greenwood is also in this. She's been in 72 things, including The October Man, The Moon Spinners, and Whiskey Galore.
Sounds like another movie I've heard of.
I've never seen the movie because I live it.
Oh my God.
Hey.
Also in this is Donald Pleasance, Samantha Egger, and Jean Leclerc. Have you guys seen The Uncanny?
No.
I don't think so.
I wonder if maybe you have. Because
okay.
After watching this, I was like, wait a second, I remember watching this with my mom. We meet Wilbur Gray as he is scurrying through the night, carrying his latest manuscript to the man he is hoping will publish it. On the way to this guy's house, he seems to be being watched at every turn by common house cats, which he is clearly terrified by. But he makes it to the lavish home of the publisher safely, only to find that the man, Frank Richards, also has a cat there. And this troubles him.
Oh my God.
So the two men sit and discuss this new book, and that's when we find out that Wilbur Gray is either a horror writer or he writes about supernatural tales that are true. I couldn't quite tell. His publisher poo-poos the reality of the stories in his new book, which concerns cats, of course, and Wilbur then pulls out a huge file that he says proves that each story in this book is true. And so this becomes an anthology movie of horror stories where cats are the antagonists. Kind of. And in between each, Richards then points out that, yes, the person did in fact die the way that Wilbur has written, but that doesn't mean the cats are the villains. I love one of these discussions because Wilbur says, the only common element in any of these stories is the cat, which I suppose is the indisputable proof he has that these are all cats. The stories are pretty good, not original. One of them is an old lady with a house full of cats, and she's left them everything in her will, so her nephew has decided to kill her and change the will. But the cats may have something to say about that. One of the stories is a young orphan girl and her cat being adopted by her aunt, who has the bitchiest daughter of all time. And after tormenting the newly adopted sister and her cat, the little girl whips out some black magic and shrinks the girl to the size of a mouse.
Oh.
And then the third has Donald Pleasance as a film director who has murdered the movie star he was married to in an on-set accident. But the woman's cat will soon take revenge. This one ends with, "What's the matter, Valentine? Cat got your tongue?"
Hey.
And guess what? The cat has his tongue.
What was her?
So this movie is fun and fine. It is a little strange to think that this came from 1977. Cushing was in this very old-fashioned, almost silly horror movie, and also on the very futuristic Star Wars, which would completely change the landscape of Hollywood films. And it's also weird to think that this kind of movie was being made after Rosemary's Baby, The Exorcist, Jaws, Carrie, The Omen, The Sentinel, all of these flicks that were starting to treat horror very seriously. This is I don't want to say goofy, it's just kind of stupid. So, tagline, there's 3 of them. They prowl by night, lusting for human flesh. How about this one? Cats aren't always cute and cuddly.
True.
And finally, a trilogy of feline terror.
Yeah.
Meow.
Yes. One little bit of trivia. The film's cinematographer, Harry Waxman, threatened to quit when he found out that the production was mistreating the cats.
Oh.
Now, I don't know exactly how the cats were being mistreated, but there is a bunch of cats leaping at people, and it looks very much like these cats were catapulted at the people, being thrown at the people against their will, because you'd think if they were purposely leaping at these people, they'd like grab hold of them. But no, they seem very much like they want to get away from the person they just jumped at.
Oh, gosh.
So there's probably some cat trauma going on here, but that was 1977. All those cats are dead now, and we don't have to worry about it.
That's right. The behind the scenes moment. You know, I was looking for the trailer for this one. There are a lot of movies called The Uncanny.
Oh.
So I was like, looking. You're good. This is a Canadian production. That's
Okay.
how I figured. It's like, I'm pretty sure. Yep, Canadian production.
Okay.
Oh,
I was
that's
like,
good.
oh shit, did I pick the wrong Uncanny?
I mean, it's Canadian English, but it is Canadians listed first.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay.
I was just about to ask about that.
So yeah, I mean, Peter Cushing, I find it hard to believe that he would have traveled to Canada to shoot.
Yeah, that's
They probably
fair.
did like a studio. Was he in the overall segment or just one of the mini?
He's just he's in the wraparound story. He is Wilbur Gray.
They probably went over to him, I'm guessing.
It's so funny because, you know, Lucas is a good director at the time Star Wars comes out. He's done American Graffiti, so he knows how to get a performance. And Peter Cushing obviously knows how to act. He is overacting so hard in this that I'm just like, is this the same guy who's got like a slight British sneer on his face in Star Wars, and he's so, just so perfectly evil? In this, he's just, a cat.
Oh my God.
It sounds fun.
Oh, man. Okay. Canucksploitation. There we go. I would say whose turn is it to pick the next topic, but guess what, guys? Next episode is episode 300.
Woo.
Damn.
Can you fucking believe that we have
Jesus
did
Christ.
300
weeks?
episodes.
This is impossible for me to think about, and it makes me want to quit right now.
Really? No, it makes me want to go. Makes me want to keep doing more. More.
Wait until we get to 600.
I'll be dead long before that. So in lieu of how we would normally do it, I think we're just going to have a kind of chat.
Yep.
Talk about films, talk about life, talk about everything, talk about the podcast, all of that stuff. And I don't know how it's going to go, but I hope it'll be fun.
Hopefully it'll be longer than 15 minutes.
I'll have bubbles on hand, so
That'll a little liquid.
that could make it a very short episode.
We're very long.
So this is the part where I say thank you to everybody who's out there liking and sharing posts, who's interacting with us on the Strange Eons Radio Talk page on Facebook. Still the best page on Facebook, who's out there calling us on the Strange Eons Radio hotline, which is 253-237-4266. And especially anyone who is contributing to the value for value idea, which is if you get a little bit of value out of this, give a little value back. Right. That can be in the form of promoting us somehow, or leaving us a review on any of the podcast apps you're listening to, or buy money. There's multiple ways to do that. Eric, how many ways are there to give us money?
Well, you got PayPal, which you can click on our website. You've got Buy Me a Coffee, which we call Buy Me a Pizza because, good reasons. And those be or if you just, write for my address, I'll send me a check.
Send us a check. We'll take loose change. We'll take pocket lint.
We just need like a guitar case just out front every time we're doing a podcast. Just swing on by, throw some change. You entertained, put it on in.
We are podcast busking out on a corner.
There you go.
Just talking about movies, people tossing coins into our guitar case.
It's beautiful.
You come over here. You ever seen The Dark Hours?
What's your favorite kind of horror? Let's talk about what subgenres exist.
All right, guys. Well, I'm super excited to hang out with you on our 300th episode. And I'm super excited to hang out with you on our 300th episode. We will do that in 7 short days. See you next Thursday.
Transportation and other considerations for Strange Eons Radio produced by Pan Am Airlines. When you think of traveling, think of Pan Am. You can't beat the experience. Guests of Strange Eons Radio stay at Econo Lodge Everett. It's an easy stop on the road, you know what we mean. Strange Eons Radio is recorded live in front of a studio audience. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider leaving us a positive review on your favorite podcast app. Sit, Ubu, sit.
You sold out, you gave up, you decided you're just going to go 100% Hallmark.